a Sunday. Gotta go and get paid. Gotta make sure I get my fill. Think I'm swimming one day, drowning by Friday. Need once more, get my thrill. Oh, well, you're damned if you do, damned if you do it right. Don't wanna hold you down, wanna hold you tight. Things the right way. No, it's a long stay. Still, I believe it'll be alright. Maybe this time around, I have my feet on the ground. No, for sure it'll be alright. Oh, well, you're damned if you do, damned if you do it right. Don't want to hold you down, want to hold you tight. Oh, well, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you do it right. I don't want to hold you down, want to hold you tight. Just wanna hold you tight. Oh, well, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you do it right. Yeah. I don't wanna hold you down, wanna hold you tight. Thank you, thank you. Hey, what's up? My name is Eric Bolander. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. I grew up in eastern Kentucky in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Come on, I'm a hillbilly. I live in the big city, as my family says. Lexington's not that big. But I've been to Kansas City several times. I'm also an art educator, and I've been at the Kansas City Art Institute a few different summers for a week-long training. So I like this town. It's really cool. This is the title track off my newest record called The Wind. Why don't the wind blow me away? Why don't the wind blow me down? Tried and tested along the way. Know if I'm resting, I'm here to stay. Yeah. Why don't the wind blow me away? Why don't the wind blow me down? I can't see past the so invested. See it's a day uncontested. I'm here to stay, yeah. White on the wind, blow me away. White on the wind, blow me down. Thank you kindly. I write a lot of sad music. I'm a real happy person. That's just how I get it all out, I guess. My journal entry. Heavy load on my mind, letting go one more time. I can't see it behind my back. Can't believe it, 'cause now this goes behind my wall. Won't let go, running down the hall. Now this goes behind my wall. Won't let go, running down the hall. Heavy load on my mind, letting go one more time. Thank you, thank you. That's also on the newest record. I'm gonna play one from my first record. This song's about people at dive bars talking really loud over acoustic music. It's called Think Again. Tired of standing for something that no one thinks is something. Tired of handing a whole life's work out for nothing, again and again. Well, if you don't think I'm worth a dime, hell, why don't you think again? Why don't you think again? I never wanted my life to be something so great, so great. Tried and tested all along summer hay. Remember the day. Well, if you don't think I'm worth a dime, hell, why don't you think again? Why don't you think again? I remember why I grabbed this old guitar. Meet me at the bar. It's late December. Where is the one I love? She's too damn far. Well, if you don't think I'm worth a dime, hell, why don't you think again? Why don't you think again? Well, if you don't think I'm worth your time, hell, I don't give a damn. Why don't you think again? Why don't you think again? Why don't you think again? Thank you. Cheers. I wrote that song after being on tour, and I was in Huntsville, Alabama, at a bar about half the size, and the PA was set up essentially where the trash can is by the entrance door, so only opposite. So they'd come in and they'd bump you on this side, and like the people were in and out the front door. I'm like, motherfucker, and like, you know, it's just like, yeah, I'm not the smallest fella, so I'm like just cramped in this little like window space, which is fine, it's cool. But me and two of my other buddies played. It was a 3-hour gig, and we all split it up 3 ways. There's this group that was probably just past my merch. You know, like if I took one step, I could high five them, you know. And there was 3 of them, and they wouldn't shut up the whole 3 hours. It was like the loudest possible drunken conversation you could possibly dream of. It's like if you ever been to like a real loud patio, so everybody has to kind of raise their voice to be able to talk to each other across the table. It was like that, but no one else was talking. There's only like 10 other people in the bar anyway, so it was yeah. So I got home and I wrote that song. I was like, man. It worked out kind of cool though, because when I went in the studio, I had the 2 guys with me. They each took a verse. So if you hear the recorded version, it's my buddy Jordan, my buddy Brian singing the second, third verse, you know. So it's like, that's appropriate, you know. was long and out of trouble. Never minded all that much. I guess I beat you to that punch. Guess I beat you to that punch. Time has got a hold on me. Won't let go. Won't let go. Never mind what I say. You understand when you get that way. Soul is dead, there ain't no hope. Soul is dead, there ain't no hope. Time has got a hold on me. Won't let go. Won't let go. I'm the comfort now. Somehow I'm in trouble now. Let me go. Oh, let me go. Won't let go. Comfort now. Somehow I'm in trouble now. Let me go. Lord, let me go. Won't let go. Won't let go. Won't let go. Won't let go. Thank you so much. That song's called The Road. It's on the newest record, which I conveniently have here for purchase on CD and vinyl. All about convenience. You just sit there and drink beer, and I will bring the merch to you. That's how that works. Check this tune. Something's weird. Great lineup of music tonight, guys. Hope everybody's sticking around. I'm going to have to jet. Um, got a little bit of a drive after this, but checked out everybody before I got here. Really good lineup. Travis here at Westport does a really good job putting together some cool music. So, funny story, last time I played here, it was a Friday night, and I played the 8 o'clock slot solo, and I had friends from Kentucky called the Brothers Smith, and they were slotted for the 10 o'clock, or what's the latest, midnight. They were slotted for the midnight slot, and we had zero idea that both of us were playing Westport. You know, they're based out of Lexington, close to Lexington is where I live. And we were on the road that week, all in different places. We landed here, And we knew, like, basically when I got here, I saw their name. I was like, the fuck? And then I messaged them. They're like, yeah, dude, we're on our way. It was like, it's kind of crazy. I have a strict no wagon wheel rule, but I will play it for $100 and 2 shots of Woodford Reserve. But I don't know if anybody's in the market for that. I only say that because I said that as a joke, and some rich business dude did it. I was like, heading down south, Land of the Pines, here we go. You know, I'll sell my soul for $100. I don't think that will never be topped as far as a tip goes. Right, it's just how about a no? You know, the piano bars where it's like they play the theme song and you have to keep paying more money to get them not to play it or whatever. I feel like that should be the tip for wagon wheels. Like somebody starts playing it, you pay the next amount, and it's a new business model, I think. I really shouldn't hate on it. It's not the worst song in the world, but it's overdone. I'm going to play a new song of mine. A lot of these are new to you guys if you don't know who I am. So, but this one's not on a record. Hopefully it'll be on the record we do this winter. It's about my hometown. I grew up in a small town. There's 850 people there. There's no red lights. And the closest Walmart is 40-minute drive. And so, to put it in perspective, it's about this road, Montgomery Road, and up on the hill, we call it Montgomery Hill, and there's 3 counties meet on this old dirt road, or gravel road. Depends on what time of year, I guess, how wore out it is. But there's this haunted graveyard up top. There's really an excuse for us to go up there and be ornery teenagers, but it's kind of a ode to being fun and carefree, being young, driving around with your buddies. It's called Montgomery Hill. Wasn't just to pass the time. Some of the days we spent on the ridge on the county line, up there where the west front wind. Days got longer, our minds were free. Lean on my shoulder, we'll drive till the sun can be seen on Montgomery Hill, where we laughed and lost ourselves on Montgomery Hill. Said myself, take me way back when. Montgomery Hill. Set my bags on a tailgate. Said, son, you'll do just fine. Hit the road up to Beckley. Boarded on my first flight. Screams and the sweat ran down my spine. No regret. Home was always on my mind. On Montgomery Hill, when we laughed and lost ourselves on Montgomery Hill. Said myself, take me way back when. back when Montgomery Hill. Montgomery Hill. Cheers, thank you. It was sort of a happy song, I think. I get in the habit of drinking brown liquor and telling a lot of stories, and my bandmates make fun of me. I play in a trio as well, so I have a cello player and a drummer, and we get some fill-in people as well sometimes. But a lot of people positively engage with that, and I had this one elderly woman come up and buy a CD from me, and she's like, "Now, are the stories on the CD?" And I about fell out laughing. Of course, my bandmates were there. I was like, "See, some people are listening. Some people are paying attention." I was like, "No, ma'am. No, they're not on there." She goes, "Well, they should be." I was like, "Well, maybe I need a digital release of the album with the commentary. You know, you've seen people do that. Yeah, live. Yeah, just live and just be like 12-minute songs, though, you know. That to be like a double disc release." This is ridiculous. Yeah, double LP, yeah. Any Nickelback fans in the room? I'm not going to play a Nickelback song. I just want to figure out who I'm not going to hang out with later. I said that once on the stage, and there's two dudes way in the back. There's about 100 people at this place. Two dudes like, "Woo!" I was like, damn. Like, I've said it a handful of times just to be silly, and then thanks, dude. And then no one's responded, just like you all. And I was like, it's just a joke, right? And then when that happened, I was like, cool. And I was like, "Hey, somebody buy those guys a beer. They need help," or something like that. I was just went on to the song, yeah. Backfired on me. I mean, I have millions of fans. I'm assuming you're going to cross one at some point, you know. I feel like Nickelback fans are like flat earthers. You don't really know them. Like, you don't know that you know them, but you probably know somebody, right? You don't know, but then you do know, and you're like, "Wait a minute, what? You like what? You believe what?" I'm one of those musicians that refrain from being political in my music mostly, and just in general. You know, left or right, whatever. Everybody, I think, has a home, except for Kentucky's governor. He's a big piece of shit. So screw Matt Bevin. Everybody else is cool. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, you're all great. Everybody's great, except that guy. Wake up, go ahead and pour yourself another cup all alone. Lay it all out there on the tabletop till I get home. Honey, let go. Oh, let go. Honey, let go. up. Didn't hear what you said before. I love you. Fill it up. Try not to stay before the water's right and swallow. Chain it up for the one thing you love the most. It's all a game. Being tough used to only be a man's game. I can't believe. Honey, let go. Oh, let go. Honey, let go of my soul. Want you to wander away from my home. I can't save you yet from this road. Honey, let go. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Yeah, I'm on all the streaming. EricBolander.com. There's stickers in there. Grab you a couple stickers there. But, heck yeah, man. Yeah, it's very cool. Streaming. Thank you so much. Both those albums are streaming. I know, right? I usually do when it's reasonable areas, but I'm this far away. Okay, yeah, I was like, oh no, they're in there. Thank you guys. So I'm gonna sing another one off my first record. It's about the time I was running away from my wife when she was trying to date me, and I lost that race, or I won that race, or she won that race. I don't know how to tell that joke without sounding like a dickhead, but if you look at me, I've not won too many foot races here recently. Outside of a dead person, maybe. Also, my cello player pointed out the chord progression of the verse sounds just like a really extremely famous song. It's stupid, famous, classic song, and I might throw that in there in the middle of it. I was real pissed. It was already on the album, but he told me, I was like, oh, God dang it. And it sounds just like it, so I'm going to run my own song for you guys. Just, Then I see you standing there, holding my should have left you where you were. Seems like my mind is never the world. I'm getting old. Tennessee is standing there, holding my hand with that again. Now I do, yeah. Oh, baby, I'm running away. Oh, baby, I'm running away. When it all comes down to life, sharing the same old fate. Whoa, I get carried away. No, I won't be afraid. I won't shed a tear just as long as you stand by me. Oh, baby, I'm running away. Oh, baby, I'm running away. When it all comes down the line, sharing the same old fate. Oh, I get carried away. Oh, baby, I'm running away. Oh, baby, I'm running away. When it all comes down the line, sharing the same old fate. Oh, I get carried away. Whoa, I get carried away. Thank you, guys. Yeah, Seth ruined that song for me, but now I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna ruin it for everybody else. Since it's ruined for me, I feel like it's only fair. I'm kind of childish that way, so. Oh, no, no, no. That's got to be the first glass bottle ever busted on Westport Saloon's floor. Has to be. Glad I'm here for it. Feel honored. So 4 years ago, I played this all-evening music songwriter showcase. There was an outdoor patio, inside stage, at a bar a little bit smaller than this. And one of the names on the bill was Tyler Childers. I'll show you a picture of the flyer. Yeah, 4 years later, he signs with RCA Records. Son of a bitch. Yeah. He's a cool dude. I met him a couple times. He's been real nice. I mean, he doesn't know me from Adam or anything, but he's been a really cool guy, and his wife's really sweet. But we have some mutual friends. Laid Back Country Picker. Have you ever heard of him? He was Tyler's high school social studies teacher. Yeah, it's like this weird little connection in Kentucky. It's like all these little like circles everybody's part of. And like for somebody like Tyler that's been working his ass off for so long to sign like that humongous deal, it's really cool. It's kind of a redemption for all of us out here working it. When you know somebody that's doing what we're doing has done that plenty of times. Now he's like a name that people are going to know, just as big as some of the stuff that we don't like that's on that style radio, right? So it's pretty cool. That'd be an awesome segue if I covered a Tyler Childers song, but I don't know one. I'm just terrible at segues, so. I'd feel weird. I really would. I just feel like I was trying to cash in on, I don't know, I'd feel odd about it. You know, I think it's more cool when artists that are kind of removed. I think that's the biggest compliment to somebody is when they do that. Maybe I walk across that line, leave it all behind. Had another chance, goodbye. Maybe if I would stop drinking, give love time, being so hard-headed, start another fight. Oh, got all these songs, sure what I'm saying. It can be wrong, I can't see. And maybe I never should have lied, just told the truth about what I tried to hide. Sure don't know what I was thinking when I threw it all away. Spent years in the making, like a damn fool of faith. Game is almost over, hate to see you walk away. On my own path now, hope to see you again someday. Mama got all these songs, sure what I'm seeing. It can be wrong, I can't explain. And maybe I walk across that line, leave it all behind. Had another chance, goodbye. Thank you guys, appreciate it. It's weird, I got substantially quieter in here. I have no idea why. Jokes are free, CDs are $10. Come see me after the set, pick you up something, or throw some money in there, grab you something, or just grab and run real quick. I won't be able to catch you. back up in the woods, all by myself. I felt free, felt alive, felt something else. The coyote screams, I hear the wind all too well. Still can't bring about into this lonesome hell. Had a chance to fall, head over heels in love, can't fall apart. Said a chance to fall, head over heels in love, can't fall at all. Fall at all. Trying to survive the institution's grip. I guess I'll be fine when the maker's mark is set. Calculating my loss from a battered mouth. Faded words haven't done me in just yet. Had a chance to fall, head over heels in love. It's a chance to fall apart. Said a chance to fall, head over heels in love. It's a chance. Had a chance to fall, head over heels in love. Is a chance to fall at all. Said a chance to fall, head over heels in love. Is a chance to fall. Said a chance. Yeah, I don't know. Is it a connection problem, you think? I mean, I'm pretty loud. I got a big mouth. Yeah, that was weird. I did it twice. I don't know. Hey, man, if you don't want me to sing, dude, just tell me. You don't have to, like, turn my mic off. All right. Yeah, I don't need a mic. That's probably not far from the truth, really. I will say last night at the gig, there's this group of people. They had like this late night work function, and they all came to the bars, like 12 of them. And I was playing last, and I played my last two songs is all they caught. And we were packing up the PA and everything. And they're like, "Oh man, are you finished?" You know, which is happens sometimes. Like, "Yeah, man, sorry guys, you know, it's over around 10ish." They're like, "Oh man," and this dude was like, "I will pay you $20 a song if you play some songs to our table." It's like, done. Open this fucking guitar case here. Extra $100. Yep. 5 songs. Done, son. All day. They bought merch and everything. I was like, what's happening? I'm going to wake up in the morning and none of this happened. I played 5 songs. Like, no shit. I played 5 songs. And I sold them like $60 in merch. I was just like, this is stupid. Yeah. Like, hey, come on over. Hell. I was like, what the hell? This was in Lee's Summit, which is kind of close here, so it was like on a lake, you know. That shit never happens. None of that happens. The only other time something stupid, well, a couple times. This girl was a big fan of mine. She was getting married. I don't fucking hate weddings. Sorry, can I say I say fuck. Well, we are in Kansas City. I should be able to say fuck, I think. Anyway, whatever that doesn't even mean anything. I don't know. But anyway, so I have a good friend who's she's a bartender, and she does her own kind of boutique bartending now. She does like events and stuff. So she does a lot of weddings. She's like, hey, this girl's a really close friend of a friend of mine, and she loves your music. Would you be willing to play her wedding? I was like, dude, I don't play weddings, man. They always want 500 different things. I was like, I did the cover gig stuff. She's like, no. She wants you to play some of your stuff during the ceremony only. I was like, that's weird, but cool. That's awesome. I was like, how many songs? She's just 2 instrumental songs, and you sing 1 song as they leave. I was like, all right. And I was just so not doing it. She's like, how much did you charge? I was like, $400. $400. Because in my mind, I was like, no one in their right freaking mind's going to pay a dude $400 unless it's like Chris Stapleton, right? To come and sing 1 song at their wedding and play guitar for 2 songs. She's like, she emailed me back an hour later. She's like, yeah, she's good. Let's schedule it. And I was like, dang it. But then I was like, wow. So I get there, and it's this like winery that's connected to a horse farm. It's like the stereotypical Kentucky landscape. I get there, there's like the richest people that I've ever been around. I was like, they're going to charge me for oxygen or something, you know? So I get there and set up, and I'm just like kind of dressed the way I am. I think I wore khakis because it's a wedding, you know? I at least wore khakis. Anyway, I think it's because my wife made me. She's like, nah, you got to wear khakis. I was like, okay. So I get there and I set up and I sound check, and it's in the horse barn. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is like the most like extravagant, this humongous tent. The band's setting up for the reception. It's just ridiculous. So I get there and I play songs. I went over, got some free booze, got my check, bailed. I was like, this is insane. I was like, I'm taking this straight to the bank because this better be real. It's like, it's like this does not happen. This is not a real. Yeah, that's. But then last night happened. I was like, what? I was like, okay, $20 a song. I'm done. You got this. What if that was the rate? Like, that was just the rate you got paid. It's like, dude, you'd have to like they'd have to like drag me off the stage. 20 $20 a song. Oh, I've got like 100 songs. It's cool. I'll play. Just making songs up on stage. Yeah. Anyway, that's my story. Sorry, going on a tangent here. So I got our brand new song that we really re-released this album via Eastwood Records. They're out of Louisville, Kentucky. For those not from Kentucky, that's Louisville, Kentucky. It's Louisville if you're in Kentucky. But small label, Wes owns it. He's a cool dude. But anyway, I told him I'd re-release it if we did new material. So we put 2 new songs, and we had a new album redesign. Jimbo Valentine out of Huntington, West Virginia, and he did a lot of Tyler Childers stuff up until this new record. The Purgatory album cover is done by him. A lot of the T-shirt and tour posters is done by that same guy, and he's a super cool dude. And so we re-released it and packaged it, but this is the newest song, and it was based on some crazy events that's happened in my little tiny hometown. I had a cousin burn alive over a bad drug deal. I've seen my granny at a ton of funerals, losing kids and grandkids and her husband, and just all this craziness and cancer and drugs and just a whole slew of things that I feel like a small town like that shouldn't have to endure, especially when everyone knows everyone, and a lot of it was my family being involved. But I wanted to pin it down, and I wanted to make sure that I got it on that record. So it's a song called "Oh Lord." Tobacco fields above eternal flame. The Lord sure works in mysterious pain. River bends, takes another life. Granny weeps and holds my mother tight. Oh Lord, oh Lord, $100 bill, and you'll get your pay. Passed out high in the driver's seat, burned alive with no one to wash your feet. Oh Lord, oh Lord, amen, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, amen, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, amen, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, amen, oh Lord. River bends, takes another life. Granny weeps and holds my mother tight. Thank you. See, it's kind of a heavy song, but you know, it's something that's real and it's true, and just a lot of crap. My uncle owned this little tiny building. And it was a grocery store, and he sold it. And there's this like ring of PAs and doctors, like 4 of them, that open these little tiny clinics in these small towns filled with meth and pills and all this. And for $100, you could buy a script for OxyContin, and it's like true. It's true as hell. The with the true life is stranger than fiction kind of thing or whatever. It's like, and it was in Ashland, Kentucky, in my hometown of Garrison, which is tiny, and then southern Ohio, and maybe Huntington, West Virginia, and they all were under this main person, and they opened these places, and I was floored. I was like, I know there's crappy people in the world, but you know, it's usually somebody doing something illegal under the scenes, but people that are like actual medical personnel and professionals. It was just like this insane thing. And I mean, people they go there for normal things, you know, if you had a cold or a flu or something, and that worked too. But it was such a great thing for our tiny town to have a clinic. It's like, oh damn, you have to drive like 30 minutes to get to a doctor, right? And just for normal day-to-day stuff. So this was like this is revolutionary. It's like, oh wow, our little tiny town's gonna have, you know, a doctor where if you had a cold or an infection, like you just run over there and get it and you're good. But then it turned into, you drive by it seriously, and there'd be a line like you're waiting on this shitty piano bar. What was the name of it? You're doing anyway. But yeah, it'd be like easily 50 people, you know, like 20 or so inside, and it would be outside just waiting in line to go through. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, that's the most nuttiest thing. And then it came out on the news when they got busted, and you know, FBI was in Garrison, Kentucky, which was just stupid because there's nobody there, you know. Everybody running around talking, hell, the FBI's here. You know, it's like, man, you can't even spell FBI. Stop talking about it, you know. So God bless. It was nuts, dude. It was like, and it was just crazy, man. It was all this stuff that just lined up over a course of like 15 years, and I was just, man, that's got to be a song, you know, as real as it is. But, man, that's depressing as hell. Let's just get away from that. How about it? Anybody St. Louis Blues fans around here? Anybody? Yeah? We don't have hockey in Kentucky. That's a lie, actually. We had a semi-pro team years ago, back when I was in college in Lexington. It was fun. And they had this thing, after the second period, you would throw crushed beer cans onto the ice. You just fucking throw your cans out there. They'd come out, they'd sweep them off, everybody cheered, and then third period started. I'm not lying. It's just like, my buddies are telling me, I was like, what? I was like, cool, I like hockey. We had a college team too, and I'd win a few times. I was like, yeah, it's such a fun sport to watch. And then, yeah, I was like, why are we throwing beer? I don't know. It's what you do, man. And it's like, this is crazy. I don't know why these didn't last. Hey, but I went to our minor league baseball team game the other night, and it's affiliated with Kansas City Royals. So your all's minor league, one of your minor league farm teams is Lexington, Kentucky, the Lexington Legends. So, if anyone cares, I'm unfortunately a Reds fan. By proxy, I live close to Cincinnati, and Kentucky has 0 pro sports teams. All right, we'll do a cover. I'll put this full band version of this on the record. Never meant to cause you any sorrow. Never meant to cause you any pain. Only wanted one time to see you laughing. Only wanna see you laughing in that purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only wanna see you bathing in that purple rain. I never wanna be your weekend lover. Only want to be some kind of friend. Baby, I can never steal from another. Such a shame our friendship with you in purple rain, purple rain. Oh, yeah. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only wanna see you underneath that purple rain. Well, honey, I know times are changing. It's time to reach out for something new. See what I need it. Can't seem to make up your mind. Think you better close it. Let me guide you to purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Oh, yeah. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only wanna see you in that purple rain. Thank you. So that was kind of a big undertaking, and we put it on the record. And we just finished tracking the song, or we finished tracking, a good chunk of the album or whatever, but the song was part of the tracking. And Dwight Yoakam, Dwight Yoakam? Yeah, son of a bitch. Well, he put it out on a record, and it came out the month we were in the studio recording. I was like, so I texted him. I was like, hey, man, D. White, what are you doing? I don't have Dwight Yoakam's phone number. But If I did, I would have texted him like, "Man, what the hell you doing, man? Stealing my thunder like this?" You know. Bunch of people's recorded, but it's Dwight Yoakam. I mean, I'm not necessarily country, but I am country, you know. So I was like, I'm close to the same genre, so I listened to it. I let my producer hear, and he's like, it's a lot different, because I didn't want to like put out, you know, a folky version of a song that somebody else just put out a folky version of that's like way famous. So I thought, oh, this is gonna suck. So we got really good response out of it. I mean, it's a gigantic cover. I was like, screw it, let's do it. There's cello, saxophone, banjo. It's like this like smorgasbord of amazing stuff going on. I don't know. That's it. That's all I got about Purple Rain. So I can't. Did you know that the solo, the guitar solo, actually 80% of that's recorded live, and the original version's like 14 or something minutes long, and the solo is 100% improvised. So like that little lick he does, then he does it for like 45 minutes straight. That's all like improvised. He had his crew come in. And he's like, "Hey man, I definitely want this set recorded, and I want this song." And they took that song and they dubbed over strings and backing vocals and maybe like one or two little things. I learned that. Like I was just like, that's stupid. I know he's dead, but screw him, man. God bless. Like just oozing with ridiculous talent. It's crazy. But I was a big Prince fan as a little kid. I grew up in the '80s. I had an older brother and sister. So my older brother was jamming some Motley Crue and AC/DC and like I don't know, a ton of other like '80s metal and '80s rock. And then my sister was playing a crap ton of Prince and Janet Jackson and all the like pop big haired stuff. And I almost overdosed on Aquanet hairspray, by the way, when I was little, from my brother and my sister. So it was like, because they graduated high school in the late '80s. So it was that stereotypical '80s stuff. But anyway, I did have a mullet when I was little. Pretty proud of that. Felt good about it. And yeah. Anyway, so I grew up around that stuff, and I'd been covering that song solo. I've been in a bunch of different bands. I'm also in a rock and roll band called Alcatraz Shakedown. I started off with the same guitarist. We were in a metal band, kind of like a Killswitch Engage, sort of new metal-ish. And but anyway, so I'd been playing live music quite a while, but then I started this solo stuff. Basically, the handful of originals that didn't fit my rock and roll band, and I got some gigs with some good buddies that were also in rock bands that did solo stuff. And then I started covering that song. I was like, it'd be kind of cool, like, to cover something unexpected. People don't look at me and be like, he's going to cover Prince, probably. It's a good chance. Like, no one says that, right? So I was like, I'm covering Purple Rain, screw it. So I did it, and a handful of other covers, and it went over well. It kept going over well. And I used to do Dolly Parton's Jolene and a handful of other ones. I wanted people to be like, this guy's diverse. That's cool. So then Prince died, and I was like, ugh. I stopped playing it for like several months. I was like, I feel like I'm cashing in on this thing, and it's like, I'm out. I don't want to, I was like, I don't want to feel like that. And then people kept asking about it at shows. I was like, damn, I need to do that again. So brought it back out, started playing it again. At this point, I had my trio together, my drummer, which is conveniently from my former metal band, and then a cello player who's ridiculous, and he's just amazing. But so then we started rehearsing it and put it together. And then that's when I was like, yeah, let's do this on the record. I think it's like, not only is it a cool cover, it's also sort of a tribute, like a head nod, tip of the hat to one of the greatest, if not greatest, songwriters in the '80s. I mean, good Lord, he had songs that were, he had throwaway songs that were hits. Sinead O'Connor, isn't she the one that's like had a #1 hit that was written by him? A handful of other people that he just, it's crazy. But anyway, so that's kind of the background of me covering that song. No one really wanted to know that, but I have a microphone, you guys don't, so it's like one of those things. It's like, I know, right? Yeah. What if you guys had a microphone too, though? Like if everybody had a talkback mic, you'd be like, hey man, play a song. Hey, shut up. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, that could be a new model, business model, could it? I don't know. How would that work? Everybody had a headset mic. They could talk to the. That would get messy, wouldn't it? That's a terrible idea. So I mentioned being a rock and roll band, and we have sort of kind of an edgier hard rock kind of vibe, but it's definitely rock and roll. And we have some blues undertones, and we wrote a song dedicated to some of the blues people, some of those blues masters from 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, like the people that really kind of started some really cool stuff with the blues and blues guitar. I'm going to do an acoustic version of one of those songs. It's called Begging for Change. Out from the heat of Death Valley, the sun, Frisco Bay, got a pocket full of money, and no, there's nothing you can take away. No, it's all in time, pretty mama, but time will only tell. What lives in us says a message on those who never fail. Can you take me? Can you sing it? Begging for some change. Ain't nobody say it like Muddy Waters. He ain't gonna mess around. Some of these people nowadays are just gonna let us all down. Let's get back to Let Betty. She'll said a thing or two. Now listen to Memphis Medic. She's gonna put it on you. Can you take me? Can you sing it? I'm begging for some Robert Johnson, take you down to the crossroads now. We'll hang out the best of the best, gonna lay 'em all on the ground. I said you, me, everyone else gonna take my blues away. I said you, me, everyone else gonna take my blues. Can you take me? Can you sing it? Begging for some Thank you, thank you. Oh, Lord, thank you, sir. Gentleman and scholar, everybody. Have you seen the documentary of Robert Johnson on Netflix? Anybody? It's good stuff. Nobody? Nothing? Is this on? Did it go off again? I think this is off again. I don't think it's working. I don't think it's on. I don't think it's on. Anybody know who Robert Johnson is? Okay. So the story is, he's just a young black kid that came up and he was trying to play guitar and he sucked. He just wasn't that good, but he hadn't played very long, but he was just real anxious, you know, and he was going into some of these pubs and bars. At the time, obviously, it was blacks only, you know. It was like this little, like, underground scene that ended up becoming what blues rock and roll is, right? And so he kept going in, and I can't remember two of his mentors' names. They're real big names, but not Muddy Waters, but like that big of a name. But anyway, they kept kicking him out. I was like, hey, man, come on. Like, he would go up during their breaks and grab a guitar and start playing and crowd's like, hey, what are you doing? So he left, and they didn't see him for a few years. So the legend is he goes down to the crossroads, right? And he sold his soul to the devil to play guitar because he came back and he was ripping it. He was doing stuff that none of those old dudes could do. Like the guys that had been playing for years and years and years and decades. He was doing stuff within 3 years that none of those guys could do. And that's, so the legend was built around Robert Johnson. He sold his soul to the devil to play rock and roll. Yeah, so the devil at the crossroads, that's about Robert Johnson. And that's where that comes from. And it's such a weird story, man. It's like crazy. And there's only a handful of photographs, which, photography wasn't as accessible then. But also, like, there's not hardly any recordings or any, like, it's just this weird thing. It's like this legend that's lived forever within the rock and roll, community. And so we wanted to write something that was sort of dedicated to the folks that sort of brought that in. Because without that, without those folks, man, rock and roll wouldn't exist, really. Led Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin 2 is basically a cover album of blues songs they stole. It's like everybody making fun of Greta Van Fleet for sounding just like Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was like a cover band, basically. They just stole. Led Zeppelin's my favorite rock and roll band of all time, but When the Levee Breaks is not their song. Those lyrics were not written by Robert Plant. It's a blues song from like the late 20s, and it crushed me harder than anything when I found it out. I almost cried. I was like, God. It was bad. It was worse than when I went to the movies to see Terminator 3. It was the worst fucking movie I've ever seen. I almost cried when I left. Terminator 1 and 2, it's the greatest back-to-back movie. Sorry, it is. Like, it's fact. You can Snopes it. Like, you can fact check me. Terminator 1, Terminator 2, they're there. Best sequel to a movie ever. It's great. Terminator 3, I almost cried. It was so bad. So when I found out When the Levee Breaks was indeed not an original Led Zeppelin song, I wanted to punch things. I still like him, but that's one of my favorite songs. It wasn't even their song. I don't even know how to deal with that right now. It's like all coming back, all the emotions and everything. So I'm gonna play one more tune. Thanks for being cool, guys. And thanks for hanging out and checking out the set. And come say hey, look me up. EricBolander.com is a great way to keep up with me, but I'm on all the socials and streaming and stuff. And thanks for Travis and Westport for having me here. It's awesome. I've been here a couple times, and they treat me well, and it's great. It's like a home away from home. So I'll definitely be back at some point down the road for sure. So keep up with me, and I'll be in KC a couple times a year, hopefully. I've been calling out your name, words leave with no fear, through this window with a double pane. Trials have taken on another year. Cry me a river of lucid pain. Let out a scream for no one to hear. Words fall like the passing rain, leaving damn trails, the final tear. Oh, oh, when I whisper your name, oh, when I whisper your name. So I tried to stay here, wasn't foreseen. Lay my heart to rest, dear, 'cause there's nothing left here for me. Cry me a river of lucid pain. Let out a scream for no one to hear. Words fall like the passing rain, leaving damp trails, the final tear. Thank you guys so much. That's it for me. EricBolander.com. Come say hey. Thank you guys.